Up, Buddy Nerdigans. This is the one and only Packer Girl 89 of Nerdigans. And today's Manga Nerdigan live reaction video is going to be for Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 265. And before we expand into our recap and live reaction, we're at war with YouTube's algorithm, and it is slowly but surely killing my channel. And in order to defeat this algorithmic beast, well, this cursed algorithmic beast, we need you to please hit that like, share, and subscribe buttons. And because, of course, this channel, let alone this video, are not sponsored, if you love what we're doing and want to help keep me, my adorable Will Bubba Kitty, who's somewhere around here, and this operation literally alive and kicking, so we can keep bringing you more anime and manga content, whether it be news, analysis, or live reactions like this one. Feel free to hit up our Cash App and PayPal. Links are in the description box below, as well as the link to our Patreon, where we've started doing anime live reactions over there. Because unlike YouTube, where we have to worry about getting a copyright strike for showing anything on the screen, Patreon, we don't have to worry about that. So we can have our full setup on screen with the anime and manga side by side, and also have the audio, which, man, has really come in handy for exposing botched localizations. And I'm really hoping we get more subscribers over there, because with the stacked fall anime season on the horizon, there is quite a few series I want to cover. And yes, we are covering Bleach, period. Bleach I plan on covering no matter what. But anyways, please make sure you check out our Patreon. The link is in the description box below. So, I'm really hyped for this week's chapter. And someone in the comments last week pointed this out. For people like me who have been reading / covering Jujutsu Kaisen since the manga stream days, like before Viz picked up the license, not just for, you know, the physical release, but before they did simulpubs of Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, this is, we have been waiting for this. We have been waiting since 2017 for this moment. So, out of everyone in the fandom, the Jujutsu Kaisen fandom, the manga stream Jujutsu Kaisen readers are the most hyped for this moment. I'm not saying that the non-manga stream Jujutsu Kaisen sect of the fandom isn't hyped for it. No, I'm not saying that. But if anyone is the most hyped for this, it's us. But anyways, let's get to this chapter and see what Gege has in store for us today. Itadori, domain expansion. Although this place is... Wait... This does look very familiar. Is this... in the midst of combat with the sorcerer, it's rare, but you might connect with your opponent. Wait, I consider this phenomenon to be a side effect, since cursed energy is rooted in human emotions. You know what this reminds me of? Remember what Mojito was as a curse. Mojito as a curse, was related to hatred. He was the embodiment of hatred, negative human emotions. And when he launched his domain expansion against the Nami, we saw this connection between Mojito and Nanami. That's what this gives. It does. And I love it. And we actually, didn't we see a connection between Choso and Itadori as well? Yeah, we did. So I see what you're saying here. Rare? Yes. Based on human emotions? Yeah, with Choso, I would say it would be based on grief. With Mojito, it makes the most sense because of the type of curse he is, what he represents. But anyways, I've experienced this before, but it's different this time. What is this, your domain? And this chapter's title that day. Be quiet, I was struggling just as much, so I don't completely understand it either. I wanted some time to talk with you, at least hang out with me a bit. Oh, look, it's the demon sword dance. Dunno, not to worry. It's not something that people besides the locals would know. Let's see. Until I was about 6 or 7 years old, I lived around here before moving back to Sendai. I was born in Sendai, but due to my grandpa's work, we had to stay here. Ooh, the shadow is nice. Not long ago, I came back here for the first time in almost 10 years for someone's funeral, Grandpa's friends. It wasn't quite a ghost town, but oh, I love this. How Itadori kind of looks like a ghost. I love it. It wasn't quite a ghost town, but I was taken aback by how much it had changed. No, I wasn't really surprised. To be honest, I expected it to be this way, so I wasn't really emotionally stirred. If Grandpa had died first, I wonder if that person would have come to his funeral. This is the park where I used to play the most. Most of the playground equipment is gone, but considering I nearly died when my foot got stuck in the box swing, I suppose it's to be expected. No wonder. Once when I washed the slime that called Sandy after dropping it, it all flowed down the drain and I ended up crying. Morning Glory. Morning Glory. It's hydrangeas, you moron! I get it. It was just a careless mistake. I realized after moving to Sendai that hydrangeas often bloom here. I wonder who is responsible for choosing the types of trees along the streets. Well, by the way, it's surprising that you know the names of flowers. It must be from Fushiguro Megumi's memories. Oh, right. Well, if that's the case, then you'd remember this area from the time you were in my body, right? I don't go around reading every single memory like that. I see. This park is a bit... that is an interesting thought, though. You can't... The memory... But why is the memory coming up now, though? This park is a bit far from home, but you could catch crayfish here. Come on, you should try it too. This is actually kind of cute, I'm not gonna lie. Can't the strongest sorcerer ever catch some crayfish? Silence. I'm not gonna lie, like I could see Gojo doing this with Sakura. I totally could. Yours is tiny. You got an American crayfish, but Japanese crayfish are the more rare ones. Huh? The department store, which opened when I was 5, effectively eliminated the small local shops in the area. Curse you, corporations. Oh God, it just... Seeing this, like, it just reminds me of when, I don't know if anyone else experienced this, but when I was younger, this is back in the 90s, we, at the, strip mall, and this strip mall had, like, besides the 98-cent store, had Montgomery wards, and then it had, like, an indoor mall, and this indoor mall was bustling. Like, it had an ice cream parlor, it had a cards, and collectible store that you could go in and get, where I got my Pokemon cards at the time. And it had all these different, had all these different niche places that you could go to. It was, small businesses you could go to. But then, and it also had, like, the Dome movie theater, too. It had, like, which showed independent movies and stuff. But then it all changed when the Kohl's department store took over Montgomery wards. When that happened, it all changed and the mall shut down. And I remember when I went in there, this was like 5, 6 years later? At least 5, 6 years later. And it was like a ghost town. And I remember it was so depressing. I don't know. And then finally, they completely sealed it off. And it's just, oh God, just thinking about that just really, really breaks my heart. if you've ever been through that, let me know in the comments. It's so sad seeing like mini malls like that, mini strip malls like that get shut down, especially when like you went to like I did go to the ice cream parlor like after school and rode like the little merry-go-round that was outside. And you also got candy there. Oh man, I miss old school ice cream parlors. Those were fun. But anyways, sorry. I know people are going to give me shit, but like that's what this makes me think of. It says, especially another one, this here definitely makes me think of this too, is this department store which opened when I was 5 effectively eliminated the small local shops in the area. While it's unfortunate that a shutter district emerged, having a movie theater upstairs makes up for it in my eyes. And there was, if you're in the Bay Area, like the East Bay Area, there was there used to be a movie theater that was like that, where it did have an upstairs. It was a very old school movie theater. And unfortunately, it shut down because down the street, a bigger movie theater opened. And I don't remember. Yeah, Kitty, that's right. Now I remember. For a while, a church took over it, but then eventually Burlington Coat Factory bought it out. Really sad. Anyways, the countryside appears mostly gray, but if you head a little further from the city, there's plenty of greenery, so don't worry. Haven't been again, if you are in like the East Bay, I'm talking about like I'd say, well, if you're especially if you're outside of San Francisco, like it's mostly green. That's, again, I'm mentioning this because, one, it's ITADORI'S talking about his childhood, and two, like, I completely relate to this. I know exactly what he's talking about. I've been there. Totally been there. Haven't been expecting anything right from the start. Yeah, California, surprisingly, like, for those of you that don't know, the majority of California is rural area. There's tons of greenery. It's mainly like LA and San Francisco, and I would say, ow, Kitty, that hurts. Oh my God, and Richmond and like Antioch, like those areas that aren't as green. Look around. It's the type of place where greenery stretches as far as the eye can see. I used to catch grasshoppers in the rice fields and fill a bug cage with them, but they seem to be missing now. Have the pesticides evolved or something? Well, it's either that or there could be the ecosystem might have changed and the predators have eaten the grasshoppers. Could have had that possibility. Hey. Hold on, there's still places I want to visit. Oh, horsies! Horses are cute! Horses really are great. No matter how many times I see them, their faces always seem bigger than remember. I used to love if you went horseback riding as a kid, let me know in the comments. Like, I remember... I remember being so envious of some of my friends. This is part of being raised in upper middle class household, well, Jewish household, and going to like a yeah, Kitty, I know, going to like upper middle class household, because a lot of my friends that were like more in the upper class end of the spectrum, yeah, they had horses, and I was so jealous that I couldn't have one. Ugh. God damn it, I'm spoiled. Horses really are great. No matter how many times I see them, their faces always seem bigger than I remember. Grandpa used to bring me to this farm very often. Looking back, I realized that he was taking on parental roles as a substitute for my parents. The soft-serve ice cream here is seriously delicious. I spent all my pocket money on it that day and ended up eating so much that I threw up. But, yeah, ITADORI'S grandpa did so much for him. But, like, but look at the man that Itadori became because of his grandpa, though. Like, he did a good job. Okay, there you go. Go on your scratchy board. So you don't have a brain from that age? Suck it, you asshole. Why not try some archery? Whoa, nice. You're really not cute at all. Of course I'm better than you. I guess that's right. Real bow generation. In winter, snow statues are lined up for the snow festival. I wonder if they still make them. It's been snowing less in Sendai too. Global warming? It just doesn't feel like winter unless the snow piles up. I used to love drinking sweet milk tea with my numb hands after shoveling snow in the morning. I'm glad I will never live in the snow. Grandpa would look at me with a face that said he couldn't believe it. Yuck, it's really sticky and disgusting. He's drinking black coffee. As Christmas approached, I remember hearing the sound of bells at night. God, this art is pretty. I used to think Santa was real. I later figured out that it was actually the clink of car chains. Hey, I've had enough already. Well, I know you guys probably haven't had enough of my childhood stories too. Well, alright, I feel like I've shown what I wanted to show anyway. It's a cluttered, hideous mess. What is it that you're trying to get at after all? I used to think until recently that understanding and fulfilling one's role was what it meant to live. And if you die fulfilling that role, I thought you could say you had a proper death. But now I feel like that's not quite right. Roles like walking the dog or providing for a family, none of that really matters. Oh, Nodora! You know what? If this does not confirm that Nobara is dead, I do not know what will at this point. It also confirms that Choso's dead and I hate it! But also, I fucking told you so! I told you Nobara was dead! The majority of the fandom, I think, oh god, do I want to say delusional? Yes, that Nobara was dead. We all knew it! Or the majority of us knew it. Even if, there was no such rules and you just eat shit and sleep, or if you're bedridden with illness and your life is disconnected from everyone else and leaves nothing behind. Jozo, I miss you! Even if only small fragments of memories are drifting around a person's life, still holds value beyond the memories that create that their identity. Gojo! It isn't about how you die, my beloved. That is my beloved. And I talked about Mahito earlier. I'm going to read it. It isn't about how you die. I just couldn't forgive someone who acted like that value didn't exist. AKA Mahito. Sakuna, Sakuna, I loathe you, but people aren't tools, so we aren't born with predetermined rules. I could never tell who's truly a good guy or a bad guy. I might be the one who's wrong, so at least I want you to see and understand about, the people other than yourself who you can't see the value in. I don't feel anything. Brat, I understand everything you're saying, but it doesn't evoke any feelings in me. Hey, Bad Kitty! You don't understand why you're being a bad kitty, do you? Keep telling him no, not to knock things over, and he still does it. Well, that's how it is. So what? See, I understand what Itadori is trying to do. And even Sakuna does. Itadori is trying to give Sakuna his perspective on things. But the thing is with Itadori, though, is Itadori doesn't understand. He doesn't comprehend that there are people like Sakuna. And to an extent, you know what? I'll say this. To an extent that he somewhat understands / comprehends that there are people like Sakuna, you know, with Mahito and like this, where, so at least I want you to see and understand about the people other than yourself who you can't see the value in. But as Sakuna said, I don't feel anything. But here's the thing, though. I have to wonder if this was Gojo and not Itadori doing this. Would it be different? Because remember, when Gojo was fighting with Sukuna and they were kind of having this connection, it was a little bit different. And I think the reason why it is the case for Gojo is because Gojo and Sukuna were on par. They lived relatively similar lives, aka they were, or let me reword this. They were prodigies. There's the right wording. They were prodigies. And they've not, because they were prodigies, they've always felt alone because people were scared of them. That's why I'm like, Itadori doesn't understand, because Itadori has never been in that situation where he was alone because he was so strong, like prodigal strong, like Sukuna and Gojo. He doesn't understand where Sukuna is coming from. Like Akotsu, let me put it this way. Akotsu could probably understand if he was willing to open up a little bit more. Akotsu could probably understand Sukuna's perspective a little bit more than, say, Itadori. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, if I feel like what Sukuna is saying, especially in terms of not feeling anything, I feel like, if anything, Itadori is kind of patronizing him, at least in my opinion. If I were Sukuna, I'd be like, motherfucker, you patronizing me. What the fuck's your problem? Just as you have accepted the decline of the town by saying, well, that's how it is, so what? As I thought, it's of no use. If I had to say, I'm stunned by your cowardice! As for your anger or hatred towards me, is that all of it, is that all it amounts to? That's a great question. Brat, by any chance. See? What did I say? He is patronizing Sukuna. Are you pitying me? Are you trying to offer me some kindness? You're right, Sukuna. I have the ability to end your life. If you release Fushiguro and return him to me, I will spare your life. That's a serious misunderstanding. I won't stop at slicing you into bits, brat. Right before your eyes, I'll annihilate every person you hold as valuable, and to show you that their so-called value is of no concern to me. Turning it down in anger. As I said, Itadori patronized the fuck out of Sukuna. And if he didn't patronize Sukuna like this, if he had an approach similar to Gojo, I don't think Sukuna would have reacted like this. He doesn't understand where Sukuna is coming from. He doesn't understand it at all. Gojo did, as I said, the only other person I could see understanding, if he was willing to open up and like try to understand him, is Akotsu. That's the only other person I could see doing that, because Akotsu attempted to understand Gojo and was trying to take up that role. But at the same time, in regards to Akotsu, though, now that I'm thinking about it, do you guys think Akotsu was pitying Gojo? You can make the argument he kind of was, but here's the difference between Akotsu and Itadori. I don't think Akotsu was patronizing Gojo like Itadori was. No, I don't think he was. But, oh man, Itadori, like, seriously oh god. I'm glad that this proved my point that Itadori was patronizing Sukuna. He straight up patronized Sukuna. I do not blame him for reacting like this. I'm very curious what you guys think about this. Here's the thing that frustrates me the most about this is that Itadori shared a fucking body with Sakuna. And he still doesn't understand him. But at the same time, though, remember what Sakuna said earlier in this chapter. Sakuna said, despite sharing a body with Itadori and technically Fushiguro as well, it doesn't mean that he recalls everything. So yeah, it does make sense, but man, I'm very curious what you guys think about this chapter. Can you guys relate to Itadori in terms of childhood like I did? And what do you think about Itadori's approach versus Gojo's approach? As I said, I believe the reason why Gojo and Sakuna were able to understand each other and bond is because they were on the same level of power, obviously, but also they have similar experiences because of how strong they are. They were isolated. They felt alone because of their strength. While Itadori, as it's said in here, he was pitying him, patronizing him, because he didn't understand where Sakuna was coming from. He didn't. And frankly, Itadori is being kind of selfish. I'm very curious what you guys think about this. This was definitely very one-sided. Itadori was being extremely, extremely selfish. And I think he even said, too, that he might be in the wrong. Itadori is definitely, in my opinion, Itadori is kind of in the wrong. He is. Because he didn't even attempt to try and understand where Sakuna was coming from. No. If he did try to understand where Sakuna was coming from, I think there maybe could have been something there. But no. Especially if they were connecting on an emotional level, then Itadori could have connected, but I don't think the only thing though is I don't think Itadori's domain expansion was strong enough, because if it was strong enough, if it was powerful enough, it should have been able to tap in to Sakuna's past, and maybe he could have gotten an understanding of where Sakuna was coming from. Kind of like with Choso, just think about it with Choso. Remember when Choso, with the domain expansion with Choso, and he found out that that Itadori was technically his brother. So I'm very curious what you guys think about this situation. I'm going to say this about the direction Gege's going in. I'm very, very pleased with this direction that Gege's going in. I'm glad that there's no kumbaya. I'm glad that he made a distinct contrast between Gojo and Itadori. I'm so happy with it. But again, I'm very curious. Do you think that if Akotsu was willing to open up, do you think Akotsu could understand it? Or do you think there's a parallel between Akotsu and Gojo and Itadori and Sakuna? Do you think Akotsu was being patronizing to Gojo? Like Itadori is being patronizing to Sakuna? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below what you guys think. And remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Nerdigans Inc. Love what we're doing and want to help keep this operation alive and kicking so we can keep bringing you more Jujutsu Kaisen content. Few ways you can do that: donate to our Cash App, PayPal, Patreon, purchase something off our Amazon wishlist. All that's in the description box below. Also, make sure you follow us on Twitter, Twitch, Discord, friend us on PlayStation Network. That's in the description box below as well. And until next time, Nerdigans, I will be seeing you later. Bye.